What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Edison Club podcast. We're on episode number 2 of going over every card on the limited and forbidden list, which is currently the one for September of 2023. Covering every card from the top of the list being Arch Nemesis Protos to the bottom of the list being Sprite Starter. So, on the last episode, we left you guys hanging off. We finished up with Thunder Dragon Colossus. So, that brings us into the Link monsters, and I feel like this will just go by very quick because, in my opinion, there's not a single one of these Link monsters that can get unbanned or go to 1, whatever. I mean, I think that we get a Link monster banned literally every limited and forbidden list. So, I mean, I think that these are just going to live here permanently.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Link is just, in general, I think it's just an overpowered game mechanic. And it makes it to where every deck can play it for the most part. And I think that the Links that are on there now are just, in order for them to come back, they need to be completely like rotted or they just can't come back at all.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want the Prank Kid Meow Meow back, but that thing can stay where it's at. That deck was toxic.
Too many bad memories of that card?
Too many bad memories of a deck's whole game plan being, let me stretch this out until 1 second in time and gain 1,000. Just way too easy to take advantage of the time rules with that deck.
I remember YCS Charlotte last year, our first YCS back after the pandemic. And I remember, dude, like I was main decking Book of Moon. Just so that way I could flip down their pranks and they couldn't Link summon with them.
Yeah, dude, that deck was so toxic.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember when the, the adventure stuff was set to come out and everyone's like, oh yeah, Phantom Knight. The deck's going to be tier 0. And it just made Prank Kids even more obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're literally going to skip every Link monster because, let's just be honest, ain't none of those coming off the list. And honestly, the same goes for the Synchros. Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, this guy has just recently gotten the hammer, and I don't think this card can get unbanned.
Like, I'm not saying that the card can't get unbanned. I think that it just makes decks that are already powerful even more powerful, like Dragon Link. I know it's played the Punk deck. Yeah. I like the card. I think there are cards that are unbanned that are worse than Chaos Ruler. I'm a big fan of the card, but the fact that it can net you so much advantage, it can add hand traps to your hand. Now that bestials are a thing, you know, as long as bestials are a thing, it's probably going to stay on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next synchro is Ib, the World Chalice, Justisar. I actually don't know why this guy's banned. I remember picking one of these up for a deck, like the month it came out, and the next month this card got banned. I don't think it ever even saw play, but it's probably something to do with some kind of, yet again, FTK kind of strategy.
Yeah, I don't remember what the card does either. Do you have the stuff pulled up or
I can Google this one. Let me read this one. I know I'm pretty sure it's like a level 5 synchro tuner.
Yeah.
Let's see what she does here. Okay, so level 5 spellcaster synchro tuner, water attribute 1800, 2100, and let's see if I can get rid of these pop-ups. Where's the effect? Okay. For this card, Synchro Summon, you can treat one World Chalice normal monster you control as a tuner. You can only use each of the following effects of Ib, the World Chalice, whatever, once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can add one World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. Second effect is if this card is Synchro Summon card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon one World Chalice monster from your deck or your graveyard except this card.
Yeah, that sounds like some kind of like maybe loop or something. I'm not really sure why it was banned.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either. Might have been something to do with Halka Fibrax because it is a tuner. Maybe there was some kind of, yeah. And then the last synchro is Tempest Magician, which I understand why that card's banned, especially in advanced format. Like, I'm sure that there's just a way you can infinitely burn with Tempest Magician.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the XYZs, and the first one we don't even have to talk about, Kashtira Riseheart. It was literally banned the last list, and a card that's just a walking macrocosmos, and I think that card gets to pop as well. Am I right?
Yeah, and then it attaches. You can attach a card to itself. Like each time I want a card's banished, they can attach it to itself.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So like it
surprise
just
why that's
like
banned.
yeah, so it just like fuels itself with material. It can pop a card, and it's just like a floodgate.
Yeah. Literally all of the extra deck cards that are banned on here, they are all so insane. Like the next one is Lavaval Chain, and this
Yeah,
card searches any card in your whole deck, either by sending it to the grave or putting it on top of your deck. I don't think that card can get unbanned. The next one is MX Saber Invoker. There are two that I think might could get unbanned. Invoker
yeah.
potentially could get unbanned. It would just be if they wanted to push some kind of support that needed Invoker.
I think that since we have like the new dual terminal series coming out next year.
Right.
I can see the Egg Sabers getting support. They might bring Invoker back.
That's true.
I'm not sure if it'd do anything. You remember when Rusty was on the list?
Yes. Yeah.
And then they came back to 3, and then like the deck's just not doing anything.
Yeah.
I feel like Egg Saber could be the same way. It might give a boost to decks like Trap Brigade, or it might give a boost to. I guess Trap Brigade's like the only like prominent beast deck out there right now.
Yeah. Let's not forget too,
Yeah.
the reason this card is banned is because of what was surrounding this card. You had Speedroid Terratop at 3 and all of the Zodiac cards at 3. So that's not surprising. The next one is Shockmaster. Yet again, locks you out of playing the game. I don't think this guy's getting unbanned anytime. Galaxy Tomahawk is just a generic token generator in a world where link monsters exist, so I don't think this card's getting unbanned either. And it kind of just keeps going. Heroic Champion Rognaminiad.
Yeah, that card can't come off the list.
Literally unaffected by everything. Yeah, it makes it where your opponent can't summon. Mind Hacker, anything that looks at your opponent's extra deck just shouldn't exist, especially this generic. Galaxy Eyes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're good, you're good. I think that Mind Hacker wasn't a problem before Kashtira. I think that the card, because like right now you already have cards that look at the extra deck, like you have Lithogasm. I think it's that Lithogasm, the you know what I'm talking about, the level 9 True King. Yeah. So you can already look at the extra deck too. I think that Mind Hacker could come back like if Kashtira was further hit.
Yeah.
Like their engine pieces. So.
Yeah. So Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter, another one that's probably not getting unbanned. It just, for no reason, Foolish Burials 3 dragons on its summon and attacks 2 times at 4,000.
Yeah, especially if the horse card's out, like rank 8 turbo.
Yeah.
And then like Dragon League's still a deck, so yeah, that's not going to happen.
I'm going to group the next 3 of these together because they all do the exact same thing. We have number S0, Utopic Zexal, Outer Entity Azathoth, and True King of All Calamities. All 3 of these cards just say I activate and my opponent doesn't do anything the rest of this turn. So they're not coming back. Wind Up Carrier Zenmaity was the second one I feel like at some point will get unbanned. But I'm not exactly sure what's keeping this card banned. Maybe it's Wind Up Loops, something like that. But I kind of
somebody in the Konami department was really hurt by Wind Up.
Yeah. I kind of just feel like your Wind Up combo with Zenmaity is just going to end up with a Nibiru token on the field, or just die to 1 hand trap. So unless I'm just completely wrong about this one, I think this guy actually could get unbanned. Zodiac Broadbull and Zodiac Dryden, I don't think these guys need to get unbanned. We got Dryden back for a short period of time with Tri Brigade, and this card got rebanned, and I kind of think when something gets unbanned only to just get rebanned, it's probably going to be a long time before we see that card again.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it. Zodiac monsters were actually Link 1s before we had Link 1s, if you really think about it.
Yeah, they really were. Just the resource game was incredible.
Any Zodiac monster, even being the worst Zodiac monster, was just like combo.
And especially like Zeus floating around.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that brings us to the spell cards now. And first here we have Brilliant Fusion. And I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this one being banned or unbanned.
Yeah, so like, as long as like cards like Red Eyes, I get like Brilliant Fusion, it like enables more like combos than like cards like Red Eyes Fusion or something along those lines. Like Seraph Knight's a pretty good card. I think the card's okay. Um, like I said, you have cards like Red Eye Fusion floating around. You have like Branded Fusion floating around. Branded Fusion, as long as that card's a 3, I think that Brilliant Fusion could come back.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Then we have Butterfly Dagger Elma. I don't know exactly what this card would do in advanced, but considering it's a non-once per turn, it could probably do something. People can get very creative with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the next one's Card of Safe Return, which is just hard no. We don't want anything like that. Like, you could put this card at 1, actually, and it probably would not do anything. I don't think that anyone would build their deck around a 1-of unsearchable Card of Safe Return. Where something like Butterfly Dagger Elma, there's tons of support for equip cards. Card of Safe Return could be legal at 1, but I don't even think it's worth even risking it. I think you just keep it banned.
Yeah, when it comes to like equip cards, and this is going back a little bit, but like you have cards like E18 that probably should be on the forbidden list.
Yeah.
With the other ones. But as long as you have cards that can turbo out equips and you have cards that recur equips, like any equip that's on the list is going to be there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Chicken Game is the next one. And this card was, I feel like this card was really banned because of terraforming being at 3. So maybe this card could be at 1. It was like people started playing this engine of like Chicken Game, Pseudo Space, Terraforming, Upstart Goblin. So like literally all of those cards were Upstart Goblin. So I think it probably could be at 1 and do little to nothing. Then we have Cold Wave, which this card is insane in Edison format, and I do think that people would play this card in advanced format.
So it goes back to what you said though, like if it's a 1-of, but in an advanced format to where like the only way your opponent can play after turn 1 is if they have board breakers. If you Cold Wave them, your turn 1 and then proceed your combo, like with all your monsters and stuff like that, like that just says your opponent can't even break your board now at this point.
Yeah. So like the difference I think in Cold Wave and Card of Safe Return is like Card of Safe Return, I kind of feel like you're going to have to, you can't really rely on having that card for your combo because you don't really have a way to search it consistently. Whereas something like Cold Wave, it would always be just as good and better as a card like Feather Duster whenever there's like a trap deck in the meta. So like you Cold Wave them, you nuke their board, and then they can't set on the next turn. I don't think this card could get unbanned.
Yeah.
And then Confiscation and Delinquent Duo is the same thing. Those cards are crazy. All you have to do is just read them, and you know that those cards can't get unbanned. Same goes with probably something like Dimension Fusion. I feel like it would just be way too powerful.
Yeah. Dude, can you imagine Dimension Fusion and Thunder Dragon?
Yeah, that would be insane, actually. That would be insane. Giant Trunade. Bouncing all spells and traps.
I think the card could come back.
I don't think this card would do anything. It would literally just be another Harpy's Feather Duster. It kind of carries over to stuff like this card and Heavy Storm are very similar. I always hear people say like, "Oh, you can just bounce your own stuff back," but that's like the end of their argument. Oh, you can bounce your own stuff back. You can destroy your own stuff. Yeah. If your combo deck is built around drawing 1-of unsearchable Heavy Storm to blow up your own card, I'm not worried about what your deck is doing.
Yeah.
I'm not worried in the slightest bit what your deck is doing at all. So Trunade, Heavy can both be legal. And all we're going to do is just make trap players have a very hard time. But, you know, they make us have a hard time, right?
Yeah.
skipped over Graceful Charity, which is a given that card can't get unbanned, alongside the next 1, 2, 3. So like Graceful Charity, Kaiser Coliseum, Last Will, and Mass Driver. None of those can get unbanned.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going into the conversation that I think that like draw cards wouldn't really impact the game, but I think the discard 2 is just as powerful as the draw 3.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's what's going to keep that card on the list.
Yeah. We have Metamorphosis. I know what I said about unsearchable one-ofs.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like there are going to be times with this card where if you do see this card, you actually just win the game when you probably shouldn't have. When we talked about Cyberstein earlier, we said it wasn't a good thing for a card that could kind of just cheat mechanics out of the extra deck, and I kind of feel like Metamorphosis is the same thing.
Yeah, because you have decks like Cashier that can literally just like have it like inherent summon, and then Metamorphosis into like a Last Warrior from another planet, and then just like set back row, and then so your opponent can't do anything.
Yeah, so I think Metamorphosis can stay banned. Mirage of Nightmare. There was actually a thread about this card in Zodiac not too long ago, people talking about this card, could it come back? And people say, like, it's just easy to get rid of, you probably won't ever get the effect. I think that's true. I think if this card got unbanned, no one would play it.
I forgot the card even does.
I know it lets you, let's see. I know it lets you, I think you draw into your hand has 5 during your opponent's end phase or something. Let's see, it's a continuous spell card. It says, once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. And if you do, during your next standby phase after that, randomly discard the same number of cards you drew, or your entire hand if you do not have enough cards. So this is kind of like baby Card of Demise.
Yeah.
In a sense. I don't know. I don't think anyone would play this. Like, I wouldn't put this in, like, my Kashtira deck and say, like, oh, well, if I go full combo and I burn my whole hand, I can draw into some hand traps if I draw this unsearchable one up. I don't think that I would play it. I don't think most people would play it. It could probably get unbanned and do nothing. Will it get unbanned? Probably not. Next one is a hard no, Mystic Mine. Yeah, we wanted this card banned for forever, and they finally banned it in a format where it wasn't really even being played. When I went to Nationals in 2022 in Chicago, after I dropped from the tournament, I wanted to go and watch the top tables and see, all the pro players play. And every table up there was just people Mystic Mining each other. And I walked away, and I think that was when I was just like, yeah, honestly, fuck this. I think that was my breaking point. Like, I was just like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. I watched
like the whole arena. It's like the whole arena is a hologram of Mystic Mine.
Yes, I literally saw Jesse Cotton. He was playing Brandon Despia versus Drytron. He was under Mystic Mine. There was like 30 seconds left. This guy cross-out designated a Mystic Mine and attacked for 3,001 in time. And I was like, this isn't even enjoyable. This is literally like, do you have an out to Mystic Mine in your deck? No? Okay, we'll go to the next game. And that was how like the finals of that year was too. When it was Sky Striker versus Sword Soul, it was just, can you out Mystic Mine? If not, you'll just deck out. And I hated that. That was a very dark time in Yu-Gi-Oh! You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I thought I lost you. The next two are hard passes, Painful Choice and Pot of Greed. There was a tournament last year in China where there was no limited and forbidden list, nothing, 3 of everything. And the best deck was Tier Elements with triple Painful Choice. And I think that just proves this card can't get unbanned.
I did not even know that.
Yeah, it was every deck was Tier Element with 3 Painful Choice. And then like 3 Pot of Greed, 3 Graceful. But yeah, Painful Choice just gets you way too many effects for playing one card.
I think that if you put Pot of Greed at 1, I don't think it would do much. I think everybody play one of it, but I don't think it would do much.
I think it would be very defeating to have control of the game and your opponent play Pot of Greed.
Have you ever
But I
played
don't
Goat Format?
What did you say?
I said, have you ever played Goat Format?
Yes.
Bro, I was playing a game yesterday on rating, or rated whatever, and this dude had me down to 950 life points, and he had like a BLS on field and a Pot of Greed, and I drew into a brain control for game.
And that's your argument why this card could get unbanned. You
No,
literally just said you sacked somebody with it.
Listen, that's a good format though.
This is unhinged.
I think that like decks just like draw so much though through their like inherent engines that like drawing 2 random cards isn't going to change much. It might make a dead hand a good hand, but I feel like I guess what I'm getting at is like advanced format is so overpowered, and every card in the format is so overpowered that a Pot of Greed is not going to make it any more powerful than it already. It's just like a win more.
I hope that this card gets unbanned and goes to 1. And I hope that you're on the bubble at a YCS and they top deck Pot of Greed and they draw Change of Heart and take your card and kill you with it.
No, because I have Mystic Mind on the field.
Oh, well, then you're just getting a game loss. So, the next 3 are all equipped cards. We have Premature Burial, which at first, like, you think, like, oh, we have Reborn. You know, Reborn sees no play, but I think Premature Burial being an equipped spell is kind of dumb. I feel like there are loops with Premature Burial, and like we said before, like, equipped cards are, like, very heavily supported in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now.
Yeah, I don't know though. Like, you have cards like DDR. That's a thing that's not really being looped. You know.
Maybe it would be interesting.
It would be. It would be.
Smoke Grenade. We kind of already know this guy's not getting unbanned. And Snatch Steal. We learned in 2015 why that shit's not getting unbanned ever again. That was a bad time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Let me tell you. Were you playing at that time?
No, not competitively.
Yeah, when you have complete control of the game and they literally top deck Snatch Steal, it was awful. It was terrible.
Yeah,
it was a very dark time.
Yeah, but so what's the difference in Snatch Steal versus Change of Heart outside of it being like an equipped spell?
You get to keep it until your opponent gets rid of it. Like,
yeah, but there's like so much removal in the game too, though. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Maybe. I don't know about in today's meta, but I know back then, sometimes just Snatch Steal and taking your opponent's big monster was enough to just completely flip the game in your favor.
Snatch Steal your Appaloosa.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So next we have Soul Charge, and that card was... Do what?
That card would literally, back in Dragon Ruler format, not Dragon Ruler, but like... what's that Mythic Dragon format and like Lightsworn Ruler and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that card when it first came out was just like it would end games. Like if you I've seen like streams and matches where somebody could like be on the losing end and just top deck that card and it just completely changed the game.
You imagine if you nib your opponent's full combo and they just soul charge it all right back?
Oh god.
That would be hilarious.
They've effectively just ripped a card out of your hand at that point.
Exactly, and you can't get nibbed again. That grass looks greener. This thing can rot. I hope this card never gets unbanned. My argument for this card will always be activating one card should not get you 20.
I am getting searched going through work, so I'll be back with you in a minute.
Okay. So it's just us here now. Justin's going into his work. He had something he had to do this morning. So I'm going to take a second to tell you guys about a tournament coming up very soon. We have a BBG 5K Edison tournament coming up in December of this year, and it is going to be on December the 9th and 10th. And it's going to be at the Fairgrounds in Raleigh, North Carolina. You can check out Big Boy Gaming on YouTube for more information on this. First place is going to receive a giant card, Black Rose Dragon, and then the prize support is going to scale down from there. It's going to be a really good time. Really looking forward to it. I don't know exactly how many people that Diego, the owner of BBG, is expecting currently, but it's probably going to be the biggest Edison tournament so far. You definitely do not want to miss it. Also, November the 18th in Greensboro, North Carolina, Easy Gaming is going to be hosting a PlayStation 5 tournament for Edison format. Make sure you check that out, like them on Facebook, come hang out, play some Edison. As well as the 25th of November, Picante Trading Card Games is having their monthly Edison format Nintendo Switch tournament, so you don't want to miss out on that either. So lots of Yu-Gi-Oh! To be played coming up. We also have YCS Richmond coming up this weekend, and I will be there alongside a couple members of the Edison Club. So if you see me there, come up to me, tell me hello. I'd love to talk with you, play some games, whatever you'd like to do. I am going to be playing in the Ultimate Time Wizard tournament there this Saturday and Sunday. So sounds like Justin is back. I hear some beeping.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, so I was taking a second to promote the BBG 5K and some other local tournaments that we're having soon.
Heck yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm excited for the 5K.
Me too.
I think it's gonna be the biggest Edison tournament we've had to date so far. So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, I literally just said that. Yep, I feel like it will be too. I feel like everyone is saying that. I think that's awesome. Okay, we've almost got the spell cards covered here. We have the Forceful Sentry, which falls under the same category as Confiscation Delinquent Duo. This guy was banned before GOAT format, right?
What card is that?
The Forceful Sentry.
Yeah, I believe it was. Is that the one that
It's a normal spell. You look at their hand and send a card back to deck. Yeah. Spell, Trap, Dust Shoot.
Yeah, that card can't come back. Can you imagine? It's just like, yeah, let me take a look at your hand.
Yeah.
But you don't have to activate any monster effects. Just going first, you just activate that card and let's get rid of any hand trap that might stop my combo.
Exactly. And then I know exactly what I need to do to counter their hand.
Yeah.
Last spell, Zodiac Barrage. I remember when this card got banned, I wanted it to get banned. So I don't want it to come back, but maybe it could come back. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was Dryden on the list and Broadpool, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Next, we have a Pointer of the Red Lotus, which literally was Trap Dust Shoot in 2023. Pay 2,000, look at their hand, banish a card. I don't think it should exist. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't think it should. I think any card that just gives you hand knowledge. Like, to be honest, I'm not a fan of like Thrust and Triple Tactics either.
Yeah.
Cards like that. I think that any because more so than just getting rid of a card in hand, the important thing is hand knowledge. I remember playing like decks like Infernoble and like Summon Connector and Aqua Dolphin. Even though you don't hit anything in hand, just the fact you know what they have is enough to win you the game.
Yeah, just the knowledge of it.
So like you can play around certain board breakers, you can play around certain hand traps, you can look at their hand, okay, like, well, I know what deck they're playing, they're going to need to draw this card to get out. The chances of them drawing that one card is slim to none.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to go with this line of play, that kind of thing. Either set up like a more simplified board state or like just go all out, go all ham and set up like this just unbreakable board. I think hand knowledge is just so important. It's like an Edison format that if you dust shoot somebody, then your probability of winning that game just went up significantly.
Yeah, I've won games where I've gotten hit with Dust Shoot, but I haven't won nearly as many as I have lost.
Yeah, there are games where like if you get hit with Dust Shoot, that like your hand is just so good that like it doesn't matter what they send back, that like you can still win. But more often than not, they're going to put you back quite a bit by like, I know in like playing Black Wings or something like that, and you like they get rid of like a Shura or a Sirocco or something like that, then you just like lose so much advantage. Or playing decks like Diva Hero, they send back like your Diva or something like that. I just know that like it's like you said, more often than not, you're just going to lose those games than you are win them. And it's not really just because of the card they put back, just because they like you have Icarus attack in hand, they're not going to play in the two cards. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're going to make that card dead. And hand knowledge is just so good that like especially in advanced format, if you don't have a board breaker, they see what you're playing, and you might as well just go to game 2.
Yep, I agree, 100%. The next one is Branded Expulsion, and when I first read this card, I didn't really think about the stuff that you could do with this card. But after seeing what you can do with this card, and it being searchable, I think that there's no way this card should exist. Even if you ban, like, the Gimmick Puppet, there's, like, always going to be something that you can do to lock your opponent out of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, you have Ida, you have, like, Raw's Disciple. You have so many cards that can, like, you can even bring back Jinzo against, like, the Labyrinth deck, you know?
Exactly.
There's so many, like, and there's only going to be cards that come out that are going to have, like, those inherent floodgates built in with them, so I think that card I think that card can stay banned.
Yeah. The next 3 are also ones I feel like can stay banned, and that's Imperial Order, because they eroded it to be quote-unquote fair, and it got rebanned. Last Turn and Red Reboot.
I think that Red Reboot, I think that back road decks already have a lot of hate built towards them. Like, you have, like, Cosmic Cyclone, you have Feather Duster, you have Evenly Matched. I think having, like, a Red Reboot just to say your opponent doesn't have a fighting chance of coming back is just unfair.
I think that this was an effort by Konami to try to balance cards like Eradicator, Deck Devi, D-Barrier, whatever. And I think that... I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Was Evenly Matched out before then or after then?
I have no idea. They existed at the same time, but I couldn't tell you when they came out as far as, like, their chronological. But I think that they were onto something by having, like, the counter trap you could play from your hand by paying half your life to negate something. And I think that it would have been fine if it negated a trap, sent the trap to grave, Red Reboot resolves, and the turn continues. But I think it's the Cold Wave effect that really makes that card dumb.
Yeah.
The next one is a card I think could be legal at 1 and do nothing. It's Return from the Different Dimension, because it's a trap card and it's too slow.
Yeah, I think so too. The fact that, like, you can't just go turn 1 and just and just win with that card, and it doesn't do anything in decks that can, like, activate cards upon setting them, like Labyrinth or whatever. I think the card could definitely come back.
We already have Return legal. It's called Tri-Brigade Revolt.
Yeah,
and honestly, it does more.
I think Return could come back to. I think Return could come back to 3 and won't see any play.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't say at 2 or 3 is because of Trap Trick. I don't know if that would change anything, being able to Trap Trick into Return.
I just can't think of anything you could banish that would benefit you, like, going to your second turn. I'm sure there's something out there, but...
And then we have literally the whole rest of this list can't get unbanned. It's so crazy. Royal Oppression, we know this can't get unbanned. It's big enough of an issue in Edison format. Self-Destruct button is just an odd card that shouldn't have been made anyway. All that card does is just... I don't think that card is inherently broken as much as it just wastes your opponent's time. And then... I'm sorry, what?
No, you're good. You're good.
6 Cents, same thing. We got to play with this card for a little while. Trap Dust Shoot. You play Edison format, you know why this card can't get unbanned. Ultimate Offering, they just made a new Ultimate Offering, Retrain, which I like, and Vanity's Emptiness. Pretty much baby Royal Oppression. So that actually rounds off all of the banned cards on the list. And I think I should have been keeping track, but I'm pretty sure we said there were a lot more that could not come back as opposed to cards that actually could come back.
Yeah. And I agree with you. We talked about last episode too, is I don't want to errata these cards and bring them back. Let's just make new cards.
Exactly. We talked about how, like, with Dandelion, they made that new Dandelion. With Ultimate Offering, they made a new Ultimate Offering. I think that's the way to go. I just don't like when they errata these cards that are, like, nostalgic. Especially, they don't really do a good job at errataing them, to be honest with you. They make them pretty much unplayable, unless we're talking about Imperial Order. But they kind of ruin cards, like... They ruined Brain Control for no reason. Change of Heart's legal. Brain Control could have been legal. No errata. They ruined Sinister Serpent. They ruined Dark Magician of Chaos. Like, those cards should have just stayed banned.
Yeah.
And they should have just made new versions of them instead of just ruining it. So that brings us into the limited cards, and we have about 10 minutes left. Do you want to go over a few of these?
Yeah, we can hit those.
So the first 4 are the vanilla Exodia pieces.
I think we saw why we can't unlimit those.
Yeah, I think these just need to stay at 1. I think that guy playing Exodia at that YCS, that man is my hero. I think that was hilarious. I wish he had won the whole thing.
That is the guy that was famous for Mystic Mind.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yep. And people were so mad. They're like, he's just non-gaming people on turn 1. I'm like, have you ever played advanced format? You know, I'm like looking at you like, at least he's killing you on turn 1 versus giving you like the false hope that you'll actually get to play something on your turn. I'm just like, that's all advanced format is killing your opponent on turn 1.
I saw this thread, and they were so upset. Well, not upset, but they were talking about how like if this was like 2016, everybody would be in shambles.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I think the fact that like what I liked about it so much is like one, it was on stream, it was a classic moment. We'll never forget it. But the fact that like the dude he was playing against, literally playing a deck that says you can't play either. Like I want to play during your turn. Tier limit. And just the fact that like it shows you that like you got these 5 cards that have been here since the dawn of the game in the TCG, or just the dawn of the game in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Like, listen, take your tier limit crap back. You know? So
exactly.
Exodia
like, is
so,
revealing Exodia for game any different than ending on 5 negates, backed by a counter trap, backed by a second counter trap, backed by 5 hand traps? Because that's what it feels like. So, okay, so we covered those. We have Agido, the Ancient Sentinel. He's one of the millers or the shufflers. I don't know which one he is. He does one of those things for tier element. And
yeah,
I think all 4 of those guys should just stay at 1, considering they all have, you know, like each 2 of them have the same effect as the other one.
I think the fact that each one is at 1 now, and the deck is still super powerful.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that like having these cards back at any more than 1 is just, I think it's bad for the game. I think we go into another tier 0 format. Like, no pun intended.
Then we have Armageddon Knight, which was put at 1 alongside Dark Grepher in Orchist format. I'm indifferent about this. I want to say offhand, I don't think this card would do anything. It could be at 3. But as the game continues to advance, and Dark is the best attribute, I think anyone would tell you that Dark is the best. I think it might just be a good home for Armageddon Knight and Dark Grepher to just live here.
Well, see, and like you have cards. I'm trying to think the tier limit cards. Are they all water, or there's some dark?
They're all dark except for Rhino Heart, as far as the main deck ones.
So, like, yeah, so the fact that like it's just another, like, especially like when you have like you have other dark cards in the deck too. I feel like it would, if you have like 3 Dark Grepher out, I think it would just make the tier limit deck just a little bit better.
Right. So next we have Astrograph Sorcerer, and I actually didn't even know this card was limited. I thought this card got unbanned and went to 3.
Yeah.
Probably could be at higher numbers. It hasn't really done anything at 1, and all those Pendulum cards can all search each other, so maybe this card could be at more than 1. Then we have Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, and him and his partner Wyvern Burster are at 1 because of Dragon Link. And yeah, I think that now that we have Link monsters, these guys just searching each other is just a little too good. They probably just have to stay at 1.
Yeah.
And we have Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. Probably, I don't know. How do you feel about this one? I'm checking to see Tempest is also still at 1.
So I think that all the Dragon Rulers could come back to 1, or actually just come back in general. I don't know. Maybe not all at the same time. I'm indifferent to it. I don't think the Dragon Rulers themselves, like the banish effects, are really good. But I think that Dragon Link already has what it needs to make it a top deck. I don't think the Dragon Rulers would necessarily add anything to that.
Yeah.
As a standalone deck, I don't think Dragon Roars can do much.
Yeah, I can agree with that. You just probably just get hit by Lancia and you cry.
Yeah, yeah,
Then we have Bestial Magnamut. I can't really
yeah.
comment on this guy. I haven't played really since these cards have been released, but I know that they're all quick play monster DD Crows, and that just kind of seems a little insane.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty
And
sure
the
some
fact
of
that,
them
like,
search others.
yeah, Magma searches. That's the searcher that's limited.
Okay. Yeah. Probably just needs to stay at 1, considering it was just put to 1.
Yeah.
Cyberjar should be a 3. No one. We talked about Fiberjar. We went off on a tangent for like 10 minutes on Fiberjar. No one's gonna play Cyberjar. If a Cyberjar, it should be on like an advanced format bingo card, like Cyberjar Resolves. You know.
It really should be. Like you said, nobody's going to play like a card that says you have to set me.
Exactly.
Like,
And if you, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Cyberjar, when it's flipped, it nukes all monsters, and then each player reveals 5 off top of their deck. If there's monsters, they put them on their field. If there's spell and traps, they go to their hand. Is that right?
yes, yes. So Cyberjar, yeah, specials and everything else goes to your hand. So like it's literally like a draw a fresh hand.
Yeah.
And special, but like the thing is, you have to set it, and we're not in a format where someone's going to attack a set monster. They're just going to remove it via other means.
Yeah, if you go full combo with no negates, no nothing, and you attack a set Cyberjar and you get your board nuked, then that was just your fault.
That's on you. You deserve to lose in 2023.
Yeah, it would be no different than attacking into Fossil Dyna.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deserve. You played yourself. You didn't lose to Cyberjar. You lost because you're an idiot. If your deck has no negates and no way to get over a set card, I'm sorry. You're gonna be real sad when they flip up Marshmallow. Okay, so Danger Jackalope and Danger Tsuchinoko. I think these probably need to stay here.
Yeah. You have Dark Roller running around, giving them more engine is not good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think they just need to be here. And then we kind of already talked about Dark Grepher. It's pretty much the same thing as Armageddon Knight. And then we have Dino Wrestler Pankratops. And I think this guy just does too much. He's like the old Kashtira Fenrir, but I still don't think this card would be dated if it was at 3. I think people would still play multiple copies of this guy.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably just stay here. And then Exodia the Forbidden One is the same thing as all the other pieces. Infernity Archfiend. I'm sorry, Hydro Pump. I don't think this guy's ever going to go to higher numbers. Oh no, did I lose you? I think he's gone.
I'm still here.
Okay, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, without a doubt. No, you're good.
So you think Archfiend should stay at 1 too?
Yeah, I think it should.
Okay. Then we have Keeblik and Keldo. We already talked about those, kind of.
Yeah.
Luna Light Tiger. I actually need to look up and see what this one does.
That is the one that lets you. It's like not a once per turn special summon, I think.
Yeah, I've never played against Luna Light.
Yeah, so like you could Zephyros the scale. You could put them back down special again. Luna Light was like a really fun deck, but like remember when Azathoth was the thing?
Yeah. So its pendulum effect is once per turn, you can target a Luna Light in your graveyard, summon it, but it cannot attack and its effects are negated and it dies during the end phase. And its monster effect is if this card in the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, target a Luna Light in your graveyard and special summon it. So both effects can summon a Luna Light from grave. Yeah, I think that guy should just stay at 1 as well. Mathmech Circular. This was like their best card for Mathmech. Am I right?
Yeah.
And he's at 1 now. It's probably for a reason.
It's literally a 1-card combo. It's a 1-card combo.
Yeah.
You'd have just so many like generic link decks, and then like you could just summon this, and then end on like the Fractoral, and then it pretty much end on a Trishula, and then like an Omni Negate. You know what I mean? With just the trap card, and that trap card
Yeah.
comes from the 1-card combo.
I see. I need to go on a long rant about this next one. Miscellaneous Saurus. I would just like to say that I hope everyone that's listening to this is having a great day, except those of you who play dinosaurs. Because this thing was just downright toxic.
Don't be talking shit about, don't be talking shit about Madison on stream.
Look, I love Madison unless he gets two more misses.
Listen. He made so many people cry at Nats Clara at Washington.
He did.
Last year.
He did. That was hilarious. I hate this card, and this kind of stems from a place of personal trauma because we had this guy that would come to the shop and he was actually cheating with dinosaurs. And Justin can contest to this. He actually played against him one time, and he would draw 2 for his draw phase, and he would just do crazy stuff. And we never managed to catch him doing it for a long time. And I think that just kind of made me hate Miscellaneous Source even more because it just takes away your ability to interact with your opponent. And I remember at that time, people were like, oh, this card's good against dinos if they don't have Misk. And that was like always like, if they don't have Misk, if they don't have Misk. And I'm like, well, Misk is at 3, and every card in their whole deck searches Misk. So this card can rot in hell. I hope this card never goes up to higher numbers. Morphing Jar. I didn't even know this guy was at 1.
Yeah, it goes back to setting cards. Like nobody's going to do that.
The only thing about Morphing Jar I will say is you probably could make Empty Jar some kind of a threat in advanced, just because this is the only one that really can do something on the first turn.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because you do have like Book of Taiyu. Is that the one that flips your cards back up?
Yeah, like Book of Taiyu, Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, Book of Lunar Eclipse now.
But on the same token, though, do you want to give your opponent 5 new cards and discard fodder?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know how Empty Jar would work in 2023.
Can you imagine the mirror match you're going against here?
Yeah. Actually, I feel like what would happen is you'd flip your jar, you get impermed, you do something weird to try to like set it, flip it again, and you'd probably get ashed. And I just feel like it would just never actually work.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Either that or you get the effect one time and then they draw into another hand trap for it. So I don't think that Morphing Jar would be a problem. The next one is Medora, the Sword Oracle, falls into the same category as the other Millers and Shufflers. We'll go ahead, we'll finish all the monsters down to Fusion, and then that'll be on the next one.
Okay.
Performapal Monkey Board, I think he can live at 1. I think he's fine. I don't feel like you want more Monkey Board. And Phantom Sky Blaster, once again, token generator in a world where Link monsters exist. I'm actually surprised this card's at 1 and not banned, considering it makes tokens, but it hasn't really done anything in quite some time. Then we have Psy-Frame Gear Gamma, and I don't know, I'm on the fence about this guy. I hated this card. Getting Gamma felt so bad, but it goes back to the number of outs you have to stuff like Droll and Lockbird is just so limited that I almost feel like the game needed this card.
I think the thing with Gamma, though, is like it's just really good protection when you're going second, and the fact you can instantly turbo into like a level 8, whether it be Omega or I guess back then like Chaos Ruler.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely okay. Like if you're going first, not if you're going first. Like if your opponent's playing and you have like a game or whatever. But I think it's just overpowered when like I'm going to activate a field spell that searches. Your opponent says Ash, and then you're okay. I have Gamma, so now I have my card I'm searching. Now I have a level 8 Synchro too.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see both sides of the argument for Gamma.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Red Rose Dragon. And this is part of like that little mini dragon engine that we saw running around like last year.
Yeah, but I think how Fibrak's going, I think you can bring that back.
Yeah, you're probably right. Speedroid Terratop. I think Terratop should just stay at 1. Free special, level 3, searches any Speedroid.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we have Substitute. I don't know why this card's it. This card could go to 3 and it wouldn't be good. And you know why? Because couldn't nobody find the damn things to play them. It might as well go to 3 because ain't nobody going to track down Substitute. And maybe if they put Substitute to 3, maybe they would actually reprint this card. Yeah, this card could be at 3 and do nothing. Like I said, because no one would be able to play it because no one could find it. And then we have the tier element monsters, Havanus, Merly, and Sheeran. They're not going anywhere. They're at 1 for forever. The deck is still good even with one of each of those, so it only gets better with adding multiples. And then we have Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms. This is probably the one that could go to higher numbers and still not do anything. I actually thought this card was at 3.
And what is that?
The Wind Dragon Ruler, Tempest.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I don't think the Dragon Ruler is coming back to really change anything.
Yeah, I don't know what they would do if they were all at 3, but I think specifically Tempest would be the weakest one. Just because it only really supports Wind Dragon deck.
I don't think Tempest is it's not even being played at a 1 of, like in the Dragon Link deck.
No. And we have White Dragon, Wyvern Burster, kind of the same thing as Black Dragon. And lastly, as far as the main deck monsters go, we have Zodiac Rapier. And I don't feel like this guy would do anything at 2 or 3.
Not with Dryden gone and all those, yeah.
Yeah, like
and Barrage.
You're just gonna rat into Hammer Kong, into another rat, into like a Link 2. I could be wrong, but I don't really think this card would do anything.
Yeah.
There is like that cool Zodiac Zeus Turbo deck, which I think is kind of cool, but I don't really think that it would be anything to really be worried about. Okay, so we got to Zodiac Rapier. I can't ever say that correctly. So the next episode we come back, we're going to start with the only limited fusion, which is Gem Knight Master Diamond, and then we'll continue going all the way down to Sprite Starter. So we're pretty close to there, honestly. We're not far off. All right, Justin, any closing statements you'd like to say?
No, I think after this, then we go into the unlimited section.
Yeah, after this, well, I just closed it. After we finish this, we'll go into the semi-limited, which is only just a few cards, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about there.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll be back next time with the rest of the 2023 Limited and Forbidden list. And this is Mike from the Edison Club signing out. Until the next one.